Hi, everyone. I am Skippy, and I am back with another below average interview. Cue something with words across the screen. Okay, so the very first person that I interviewed was Alex Sulkin, aka the Sulk on Twitter. And since then, I've been going and finding, because I don't want to just be known as Skippy. I'm not Skippy the Virgin. I am Skippy, and I want to do videos about workout, what you'll be seeing on my channel, and my desire to go from Skippy Chunky to Skippy Smooth, maybe. But in the process of not just having workout videos and not just having date videos, I'm doing below average interviews. And so I've reached out to some people that I am a fan of what they do. And I just so happen to have been watching the last couple of weeks, and I swear this is true. I found in the YouTube algorithm this guy named Mike, who has a channel called Law Talk with Mike, and he was gracious enough to let me ask him some questions about him and his channel. Without further ado, everyone, this is Law Talk with Mike. Say hi, Mike, or introduce yourself however you want.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me, Skippy. We had a little chat before this. I think this is going to be fun.
It will be. Give if you can, a 30-second background, and then also what led to you having the YouTube channel, and maybe what people, so that they can see earlier on, hey, if I forget to mention it later, what should I go do? Like and subscribe to your channel, but is there something like a video that you think would be great for them to go view, or something like that, and a little bit about yourself?
All right, I can handle. My name is Mike Gravel. I'm an attorney in Chicago. I'm a civil litigator. I handle personal injury cases, and that's sort of my background on it. A couple of years ago, I thought I'll do a little firm development, so I'll do a couple of videos on YouTube, and I did those, and that's fine, and it worked. But I did 4 or 5 of them, and it's sort of in my practice area, and they're useful and they're nice in their way. But I thought, well, now I figured out how to edit. I'm going to do something fun, and then I just started doing more and more fun things. I did a video for every episode of Better Call Saul, just because I like Better Call Saul.
I saw that. Yeah.
And then just this year, I fell into the sovereign citizens thing, and it's a lot of fun.
Would you say that's where your channel started taking off a little bit, or
absolutely,
that your foot was in that people?
Yeah, I could really see the first time, and it's actually not related, but it sort of is. The first time I really saw people responding to a video was there was a drunk attorney out in Vegas.
Yes.
And it was just sort of a funny situation. And I'm an attorney, I'm laughing about it. Well, everyone else is laughing about it too.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I think that resonated with people. Say, hey, a guy who's been doing this for 25 years finds it as funny as I do.
And you had
I think that's essentially it.
You broke it down into 4 parts, right? Yeah. You actually uploaded them out of order, if I recall. One of the things I suggest people do when they find a YouTube channel is you click on the image of the YouTube channel, then it pulls up. They usually show the newest video first, but click on that, and then people should click most popular, right? And then if you go through, and this is what I did with your channel. When I found it after seeing the first video, which may have been the attorney crazy thing, because this is probably how it was. I had subscribed to A&E because there was something about a most shocking courtroom incidents kind of thing. Yeah. So by doing that, the algorithm probably then said, if you like this, and then it was you talking about the lawyer in one of those. So I click on that, and then I went and clicked most viewed, and I swear to you that I spent probably 2 days going through your most viewed videos one by one by one. If I was to pull up my phone and you look really close, you would see the red has watched all of this video.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
Probably 60, 70 of your videos kind of thing. I didn't get back to, by scrolling down and through, I didn't get down to your movie review ones. I did go back a couple days ago, or right before I went out to Miami, to watch your Law Talk with Mike breaking down A Few Good Men, the Jack Nicholson scene. And
that's hard. I mean, you have your own YouTube channel. It's so hard because there's nothing really particularly wrong, but they're so awkward in the beginning. And you
Oh
leave
yeah,
them on
yeah,
your channel to remind yourself, but I mean, every creator who's on this platform would say
absolutely.
the same thing. They go back and just go, "Oh no."
Yes. But what
It's
were
just a
my
comfort level. Like
yeah?
you just don't know how to act at first.
I think that about my videos right now. And I put my hand
Well,
together.
yeah, we do. We all do. Yeah.
You know, because professional YouTube channels, and I'm not professional in that this isn't my profession yet. So part-time professional diet. I'm a diet professional YouTube channel. Now you have about like 15,000 subscribers. I've got 30,000 subscribers. And I think that if I was to have approached you with like a few hundred YouTube subscribers, that may not have gotten you. But why did you decide to let me interview you on my channel?
Oh yeah, that's all part of it. I mean, you know, everyone's looking at all that stuff, but we ended up chatting a little bit, and just we get along. You know,
Yeah,
you have an interesting perspective. You know what I liked, in addition to all that, is it's sort of quirky, and it's not my usual crowd,
yeah, yeah,
which is good.
yeah.
I mean, you know, it's not like I'm just targeting specific people. That I think is fun, and that's one of the neat things. I recently did a video, and I had the DUI guy on, which was
Hmm.
suggested to me by a viewer, and I didn't know him, and I just contacted him, and he was just a great guy, and it was really fun. But it's like, I don't do DUIs. I did a couple DUI videos, so it made sense.
Yeah.
But
Was that
you know,
the
this
attorney?
is kind of like that.
Are you referring to the attorney that you talked to?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And that was great because you just recently, so to fill people in, I'd seen nothing but you doing the videos for a long time. And then all of a sudden, like a week or two ago, you found someone suggested to you, hey, there's this other attorney out there. He specializes in this. You reached out, and together you guys did a 45-minute video that went by super quick for me. Like I
Right.
sat down and watched
Oh,
the
thank you.
whole thing, but the two of you guys have like what I think I referred to in our message as law chemistry together. And
It was
fun
real
to
easy.
see the two lawyers talking. And one of the things that this kind of leads me to, which I would call this like a good place for us to begin when talking about you and your channel and stuff, is that I have a friend named Micah, and Micah says that as soon as someone finds out that he is a doctor, even though he specializes in like a pediatrics kind of thing, that doesn't matter to anyone. As soon as they hear doctor, they then pull out like whatever is ailing them and say,
Yes.
can you give me advice on this? And I thought, oh man, a good first question to ask in the most softball way, because I know the answer is going to be yes, but I really want you to expound, is when someone hears you're a lawyer, do you immediately get like 50 law questions? And when you say yes, how do you handle it? What is that like for you?
Absolutely. Oh, it's kind of fun. You take it as a compliment. It's nice. What I fear, I do a lot of flying. When you get on the plane, you just don't want to say anything. But sometimes
Yeah,
I pull out work, they can tell.
yeah,
And they'll start asking about the real estate closing, or a criminal case, you know, and they don't realize, and literally you're on a plane, so they're from New Mexico or
yeah,
something, like, oh,
yeah.
okay, so this is some obscure provision, you know, in a practice area I don't do, in a state I've
Yes.
never practiced in, but it's cute. You just sort of tell them that people understand.
Well, and because law is so specific in different states, you know, just the idea that a YouTube video can cover a police stopping a person, and one person can say, hey, this means you can't say this to me. You're a cop, and in this state, we don't dot, 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 right? Channel is great because you acknowledge to people like, hey, I don't know what the laws are in that state, but generally speaking, and that I think is what makes your channel so much fun. Aside from the fact that you've got your personality and you've got your dogs, which your dogs are so much fun. And I
Yeah,
love that.
Frankie and Ollie were a surprise hit.
Yeah, and the fact that you do the personality, although I do, and people that have seen your videos will understand why I'm asking this question. Why do you say hit like and subscribe where the dogs get it? Because like for me, that almost sounds like, wait, is he saying he's going to kill his
Oh
dog? And
yes,
I know that's
I'm
not.
threatening my dogs. No, there's
I know
no
that's
two
not
ways
what
about
you
it.
mean.
That's the
But
implication.
when I heard that, I was like, wait, is he really saying, or the dogs get it, or? And in that
I've lost subscribers over it. People get really upset. I mean, obviously they're these cute, fluffy little things. I would never do anything to them.
Well, and it's I think that it shows the irreverent humor of just kind of like the fun of like, of course you're not going to kill your dogs, kind of
right.
Like you're not literally threatening people, and just like one day you're in handcuffs because no one clicked like and subscribe on my video.
So, yeah, someone didn't like.
What was I supposed to do? I said if you don't click like and subscribe, the dogs are going to get it. I followed
And don't forget to hit like and subscribe, or the dogs get it.
Just your dogs are fun, and because you throw in your personality and you say, hey, I don't know exactly, this is my experience. And so you really have spent 20 years, I'm gonna guess you're in your late 30s, early 40s, right?
Oh, God bless you.
Okay,
I'm
so
50 years old.
You're what?
I'm 50 years old.
Okay, you don't look it.
Well, a lot of people think that.
I think late 30s, early 40s is what you look like. And the only reason why I guessed that is because though you've been doing law now, what, 20 or almost 20 years or more?
25 years.
25 years.
25 years in November, so in a month, yeah.
Okay, so where did you go to law school, and are you at a firm right now? Are you by yourself?
Yeah, I have my own firm. The law offices of Michael Gravlin. We're located in downtown Chicago. Went to law school in Chicago. That's really how I moved here. I went to undergrad at the University of Michigan. I'm from Michigan, grew up in Michigan.
Okay, that was the other thing. I knew because in one of your videos, you've highlighted a couple of people from Michigan, but let's be honest. Michigan is like the Florida of the Midwest, the upper Midwest. Michigan is crazy. And I served my 2-year Mormon mission in Michigan below the bridge. And except for the Detroit corner, I about like Alpena, Ludington, Union City, Battle Creek, like literally 11 different cities in Michigan.
Wow.
I was a Mormon missionary there in the late 90s.
Well, you got all over
like 19 to 21
places, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was super fun. So when you are talking about those people and you're like, okay, I know a little bit about Michigan because I grew up there. So you went to law school at the Michigan.
Went to law school in downtown Chicago at DePaul.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's right. But you grew up.
As an undergrad, I was at the University of Michigan. That's in Ann Arbor. Okay. I grew up in Traverse City. It's,
okay, yeah, the Cherry Festival.
Yeah.
Cherry Festival.
It's very absolutely it's absolutely beautiful up there, but people don't know it unless you're from the Midwest because why would you? It's in the middle of the Great Lakes. It's like you spent time there. Yeah. It's a nice area.
Gorgeous.
But it's not convenient to anything. Like you're either going there or you're not.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Or you are a big fan of Mike Moore and you know that he has a yearly film festival in Traverse City, Michigan.
Yeah, that film festival has exploded.
Like, just for instance, within my first month on when I was out in Michigan, we came across this sign that was like probably 15 feet high and about that wide it was by a person who was part of the Michigan militia, went through Bible verses, the whole thing, and then it says, or you will be shot. And by the time we're reading the bottom, the couple of missionaries and we hear this, and we're out like in the boonies, like starting to get a photo. And I broke my glasses and didn't wear them like the rest of my mission as 4 Mormons jumped into this like tiny car and like drove off because they don't care. Like, the shotgun had to have been next to the door because, what else are you going to do when you wake up in the morning? And it was like 15 feet. I don't know. It was just
oh, that's crazy.
Like 20 feet from the door, but just this giant thing, but you couldn't really see the thing. I don't know, just out in the middle of nowhere, Michigan. And so there's these unique people, these unique things. And so you get so many videos that you have like a treasure trove. So you do what for your channel? You go to the internet, you type in police pullover, and that's what pulls up your list of videos that you go through? Or
well, it all started probably with a drunk attorney in court set of videos, and then the algorithm threw me a sovereign citizen. I'd never heard of a sovereign citizen until this year, but it was January this year.
Okay. Yeah, same.
And so I'm just like, that's hilarious. So I just do a video about it and it gets a big response. Well, first of all, the algorithm and then the viewers start sending them to you, both. And then there's just more stuff than you know what to do with.
In the comments, or how have people reached out to you?
In the comments, but then as the channel grows, you do things like I have a Discord, I have, IG too. And so people will find you different ways. And a lot of, probably half or more of my videos are viewer suggestions.
Gotcha.
Because
Gotcha.
it's just easier that they people, it's a neat thing in this platform. I'm sure you see it too. Your viewers get to know you, and when a viewer says, I think you're going to like this, they're probably right. Like,
Yeah.
they know who I am. They watch
Yeah.
my channel.
Yeah. Well,
You know, that's like, nope, yeah, I do like that. Thank you. And then I do a video on it.
when I'm opened up to scrutiny, it's about like the fact that I'm the heaviest I've ever been in my entire life. And it's like, okay, so if I'm gonna try and get dates and all of those things about my life, since I'm not doing interviews with people, I've got other things. It's like, hey, people will nitpick on you and in the comment section, and they do feel they know you, but then there's also things that there's no way they can know about. But the areas of your life that are like that, you don't just like expose people to, because yours is very much a one topic channel for this, or not one topic, sorry, well, law.
Right. I'm looking at the law aspects of things.
Yeah, and so you don't have the same kind of scrutiny that I think that I have on mine, which is totally fine, because mine is my thing. Something that I hear a lot. There's this something law book, the Black's
Law Dictionary.
Black's Law Dictionary. What is the Black's Law Dictionary for people that don't know?
Black's Law Dictionary is simply a dictionary of legal terms, and there's nothing wrong with it. This group of people, however, ascribe some grand meaning to it beyond that. They think it's law. It's not law. It's like literally, you know, if you want to look up the term res ipsa loquitur, which, okay, it's a Latin term. So, and what does that mean in a law context? You look that up in Black's Law Dictionary, but there's no legal meaning to it aside from that, other than a reference. It's not. They think it has the force of law, whatever that definition is, and it just doesn't.
Well, and is it fair to say that it's a there's newer versions of it, right? But it seems like people are hung up on an older printing of the book or something like that. Because
they're hung up on the sovereign citizens. One of the main, it's not all of it, but one of the main things is they want to say that they have the right to travel, meaning an unfettered right to travel, which includes the right to drive.
Yeah,
that's just not the case, and they love to go back pre-car and cite these decisions and the dictionaries and everything from before cars, because it doesn't really contemplate that, and it hasn't sort of melded into the law yet.
Not, and they do the thing of person, of I am a sovereign citizen. I am not a name. I am the man. Yes. And what's his name? The one with the guy with
David Hall. I'm the settler for the agent for the person. Yes. I'm just crazy.
Yeah.
There's no basis for any of it, but they say it so confidently, you think, oh my Lord, is there something to this that I don't know?
Yes, so much conviction to say, I am not a man. That name is a taxable entity. You cannot tax a man. You cannot lay your hands on a man. And they say it
with such confidence. I think that's been a big thing for the channel, is just because I'm an attorney and I hear this and I find it funny, but you know, I think a lot of people look at that and think, I'm sure that's wrong, but it's nice to hear from a guy who's been practicing for 25 years. Yes, this is actually just as stupid as you think it is. These people make no sense.
and here's my other little theory of it. It's like literally my notes to mention is that I think that one of the reasons why we get to see some of these is that the people pulling it, trying to pull some of the stuff off, are doing it like that guy, the person we're talking about, he's in Montana, right?
You're thinking of Ernie Tertelgate, I'm guessing.
Okay, yes. So
the mountain
Ernie
man
is the mountain man looking dude in Montana, where just my presumption is that they're like, hey, we've got a lot of folks in the backwoods. Our like cities are nice, but we're also not dealing with a Chicago everyday attitude. We're talking about laid back people that have country or and they're used to like almost not a Southern term because it's Montana, but a country folks way of doing it, not like the big city slicker lawyer. Therefore, we allow Jim, because we know Jim because he's in the town where everyone knows who Jim is, kind of thing, to be able to talk and go on, and no one, and I'm very long-winded, shuts him up and says, okay, enough talking. Do you have this or not? And if not, we're throwing you in jail. Because it seems like a lot of the videos that are fun to watch is when these bailiffs and these other people just allow them to talk to a judge in such a way where you're flabbergasted, you know?
Yeah, in his case, I'm not sure of this, but that's very small town Montana. I have the suspicion that they all know each other. I mean, this is small town. Now, I'm from relatively small town Michigan, so I get the vibe.
Yeah.
And I get the sense that the judge who's going to hold him in contempt, and she will, but went to school with him and knows his sister, and all that business. Because the reason why I get that is he calls her by her first name in the last video I did. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Another one is interesting. And this isn't, well, they have sovereign citizens, but Judge Middleton, who's in Southern Michigan, I do a lot of videos on him.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because that county's not that small, but it's smaller. It's rural. Yeah. He knows everybody. And I'm not particularly familiar with that part of Michigan, but I am fascinated with his call, mostly because of his personality. He's just a neat guy.
Yes.
Deborah Davis, the prosecutor, is really cool.
Yep.
So it's just a fascinating
I love when you pause
to
say, like, now look at her eye roll on this kind of thing. And then because, especially with where you're at with your editing now, you keep yourself in the screen. So you got like the screen showing the thing. And you're, even though you've watched the thing through, you're watching it again and just kind of like laughing at some, kind of the way that I do if I'm with someone when they're watching Skippy in Love, which is what I refer to as the Citizen Kane of cringe. It's it's just one of the most what the F, and it was when I was 24. So like I'm 43 now. I turned 44 at the end of October. But when I was 24, MTV went town to town asking, what do you do on a Saturday night in your hometown? And I had just sent a girl a dozen sharpened pencils with a note that said, the pencils are number 2, but you're number 1. Give me a call. And they're like, and what'd she say? And I go, I don't know. I sent it to her like yesterday, haven't talked to her. And I came in to audition for your little show. And so when I got on the show and we went to film, which was only like a week later, by this point, she had gone on a date the night before with a guy that she ended up marrying 3 months later, because we're in Utah, but they were both like kind of perfect for each other. So I'm going on a date with a girl the night after she just went on the first date with the guy she ended up marrying, right? And so it's just, as you're watching it, it's like so awkward in that way that's kind of fun, because it's the reason why I think it's such a good cringe video is because with other videos, you feel sorry for the people, but with me, and I think this a little bit about the frauditors and the sovereign citizen people, is it's like, okay, but you know better, you're just not acting better, you're just like allowing, you're turning off the common sense part, and you're just kind of going with the emotion of the thing, thinking or hoping that this will work, right? And so, so for me, being a person with cringe, when I tell people about that, there's, I kind of laugh along as I see them watch it. And so you make these videos with these people in the small town, and then you're watching off to the side and you say, now watch her face. And then she like rolls her eyes when the guy says, but Your Honor, I'm mostly clean from meth. And you're like, well, mostly clean probably means that she would test dirty right now, and watch her face because it says that. So that's like a really fun aspect of your channel, is that you're kind of like watching with us, and then you get to throw in law things. Okay, I want to ask you about the First Amendment auditors, or what we call frauditors, and specifically like, and I think you're right. Like, you've done a couple of them, but I've also then watched a bunch from Schrodinger's cat and a couple other channels where they have really gone into two people who, in my opinion, are notorious for being frauditors. There's PayPal Patty, and who looks just like Bobby Hill from King of the Hill.
Oh yeah,
and Serio. And
I was editing one about PayPal Patty right before we talked.
Yes. Okay. So,
and that's my first one, so I'm fresh on this right now, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay. So describe a frauditor and that movement a little bit, and the kind of what people would see going. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the frauditors are kind of fun. What it is basically is a sad cry for attention. Like anything, it started legitimately. There was a guy a few years ago who was trying to do a FOIA request and couldn't get it, and he got irritated and he went in, and I think there was litigation. I think he prevailed and should have, was being blown off by government officials when he was making legitimate requests. You know, this, I don't have the time frame. This is probably 10, 15 years ago, kind of thing.
Sure.
Well, then so many people got excited by that, and that guy was legitimate, and not that, but so many people got excited, and they realized you can get a rise out of these people by public employees and that sort of thing, by videotaping them. So they do it to police officers, clerks, anybody they can. And now within the age of YouTube, they if you get a rise out of somebody, it makes for a video and you can get some views. You know, and it is kind of funny because they go and make fools of themselves and they do these things. There are, despite all of that, there are honestly very intricate questions that arise from that. What do we want to do as a society? At what level do we want to cut these things off? We do want government accountable. We do want these things, but you know, do you want a camera pointed at you? Part of it is just a cry for attention, but part of it is sort of exploring this. It's still relatively new that everybody has a camera on them at all times.
Yeah. No,
I mean, it's been around for 15, 20 years now, maybe, but still in the history of human evolution, it's very new. And we're kind of working those things out. Law will always lag things. Law is always like 50 years behind the times. Like we just sort of play it out, see what happens, and then we make rules based upon those results. I mean, it's not a design, it's just what happens.
So I was going to ask you about that because the frauditors will say, and frauditors, First Amendment auditors, who they should be called frauditors because they say they're doing it for it's their First Amendment right, but then they go do things like they break poster number 7, where they'll walk into a post office and say, I have the right. And then they completely ignore the part that says, but if anyone at the post office asks you to leave and stop doing it, you have to, otherwise it's trespassing. And when they say that it's their First Amendment right, the Constitution, that you wonder, well, how would there weren't cell phones back then. You're right. It's like a new concept. And even though in certain states, because then that gets into a common law versus like law of the land. And it seems like people want to pick and choose everything because they'll say, well, in this state, this judge said that, but does that mean someone in a different state has to abide by a judge in this state said that people can ...
Well, this is where it really does get complicated. I mean, it gets down to a state-by-state thing on some level, but the First Amendment, for instance, is the U.S. Constitution. It applies throughout the country, and no state can do anything that's violative of the First Amendment and have it hold up. The question is, what does that mean? And the Supreme Court, makes those decisions on an ad hoc basis, again, 10, 20 years after the fact. That's how it really works. It is fascinating you just brought up the framers of the Constitution. I don't think they would be any farther ahead. Some issues, I think they would say, no, this is clearly not what we intended with the evolution of society. Right now, I mean, if you had the framers of the Constitution, I think they'd be going, I don't know, we didn't contemplate these phones. Yes. It does raise all these issues. I think they would just be rubbing their chins about it like us. Yeah, it's not clear what they meant by that. They don't want people to be restricted. But then you have the conflicting privacy interests and all that kind of stuff. However, I tend to not get too deep in those. I just more have fun with them. I don't know if you've seen Glenn Serio.
Oh, yes.
They just do some really crazy stuff, and I'll do that. So what I do is once in a while when it's clear and I think I can add something, I'll have like a serious 20-second interlude and drop that. And then I just go back to laughing.
Well, and so here's a question for you, because one of the things that Glenn Serio, who's up in Seattle, loves Seattle. When I did press for the show Virgin Diaries, Seattle said, "Hey, if you can fly yourself up here, we can't pay for your ticket, but would you like to introduce a band on stage at our Deck the Hall ball?" So I went up there and got to introduce the Lumineers, and they're like, "Who's your favorite football team?" I was like, "Well, from Utah, it's either the Broncos because of Steve Young, or it's the 49ers because of Steve Young, or the Broncos because of proximity." They're like, "Well, we just got this new quarterback. His name is Russell Wilson, and we've got an amazing new coach and a great defense. Would you like to be a Seahawks fan?" And that's how I became a Seahawks fan. And so I see, Glenn Serio is up in Washington.
Right.
I wonder what he's like. And then plus, when a person goes before a judge and they feel that either a cop, that their rights were violated, a cop did this, or they don't, blah, 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 or something doesn't happen. The way that does it work of, they'll say something like, "I'm going to sue you and the whole department because you did this." How often does that work, or what's your understanding of a?
Almost never.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're gonna file, for instance, the police officers, they have something called immunity.
Yeah.
And there's tort immunity for almost all government actors, so beyond police officers. So if you're dealing with the government, that you have to get something beyond negligence. In the state of Illinois, you're usually looking at something called willful and wanton, which means basically you can't make the case 99% of the time. So if you want to have a good case against the police department, you want to have something like, first of all, video would be really helpful. And these minor infractions like, "Oh, I disagree with your interpretation." No. Yeah, you want, like, if you have police brutality on video, okay, that's a case.
Yeah.
None of this stuff that you'll see these frauditors whining about or these sovereigns, these are not cases. Number one. Number two, I have brought these types of claims before. They're under 1983. You have to sue the police department. You can't go after the individual. You have to go after them, and you have a bunch of things you have to show. It's very difficult. It can be done, but you've got to have the goods.
Yeah.
I actually did a video where I showed some of their pleadings.
Well, so it is good to then be recording the cops when you're in, probably for your own, because you can always delete.
Sure.
If you're in your car and a cop comes up, you can always delete the video later. But if real crap goes down, it's
always good to videotape for two reasons. One, you have evidence of it. Two, people know you're videotaping, they behave better.
Well, and has that helped you in your law cases where, like, your client has gotten to an accident and they had their phone, pulled it out to show themselves of like hey, the accident just happened, I'm sitting here, let me show this, and then it's helped them get like more in the law. So
I was originally going to say no, because you usually don't see the interactions like you see in my videos. Like, so a lot of these are a lot of dash cams, a lot of things like that, so you can see. But even more to the point, and this is simple, but it's true, just the fact that everyone has a phone on them. If you get in a car accident, everyone takes a picture of the property damage. Well, that helps a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
That changed while I was practicing. When I first started practicing, you didn't have any pictures from the scene.
Yeah.
And now every case I have, there's a picture from the scene. Why wouldn't you? Somebody rear ends you, go, all right, fine, I'll take a click, but while I'm waiting for the ambulance to pull up.
Sure.
Absolutely, you do that. And that makes a big difference. Once in a while, if they get into it, it's kind of funny. I've actually had I've had a lot of funny things that I can't put on YouTube because of my clients or their pending matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've had some hilarious stuff.
Oh, I bet your stories. Well, and it then makes you crazy when you're watching these videos of these soffits that walk in like in a full headdress or something like that.
Yeah. They get away with everything.
Yeah. Okay, so a video that you have covered, and again, hoping that this is like a lighthearted thing there's Pete. I'm blanking on it. he's like he's a bailiff in a court scene that asked the guy to stand back. The guy didn't move back. He pulled out his taser and zapped the guy. And his name is Pete something.
Pete Barnes.
Pete Barnes. Okay.
Pete Barnes is probably, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I would say that's the most famous offset video. A guy who's going into court. It's really a sovereign citizen and a 1A audit at the same time. He's trying to press the boundaries with his camera. And he's also trying to make bad arguments in court, but we never even get there. Pete won't let him in with the camera, and it's beautiful.
Yes.
There's a good example though. For instance, I did a couple sovereign citizen videos, and I had 100 people send that to me. I didn't know about this video, and they said, you're gonna like this, and I watch it. I'm like, yeah, I do. It's hilarious.
Like, yay, tase him again, tase him. Yeah, no, just the no nonsense. Step back, no step, and you want you want all of them. I wanted to know, have you had your own Pete Barnes kind of interaction, either that you've witnessed firsthand, or that has been kind of like in your orbit of things that you've dealt with, of like
like in real life or whatever?
Yeah, like, has there been a real Pete Barnes situation for you?
Not as much, because this is what fascinates me. Now, again, I'm just in Chicago, but I think it's normal. I mean, none of this stuff would be tolerated. If you're over the Daily Center, 26 in California, I mean, all this stuff that I see, and it's throughout the country.
Yeah.
You can maybe, once in a while, you have a judge that's sort of, very lax and lets things, and people get away with it, but it's very rare.
Yeah.
And then attorneys aren't doing that sort of thing. I have a lot of stuff, I had more like when I was clerking at 26 in Cal. 26 in Cal is felony division, Cook County. Your drug dealers, murder, the serious stuff is down 26 in Cal. And that's not funny, but I mean, you see, I mean, guys going away in a felony courtroom with a jury in the box going at people. So, I mean, it's a madhouse, not all the time, but those are people with nothing left to lose. So when I was clerking, not on a day-to-day basis, but every once in a while, someone would just freak out in the middle of trial. It doesn't matter. They're looking at 4 consecutive life sentences. What are you going to hold me in contempt?
Yeah.
And that was really kind of interesting. And then of course they could just get shackled down, like all over the place. But you don't get to play that much in Chicago in order for somebody to step in and issue authority.
Yeah.
The public servants in Chicago will be 10 times meaner to you than a sovereign. Like, they are as bad as these people accuse these other people of being.
Sure.
Like they go into a post like, oh, you're being mean, you're oppressed. I'm like, ooh, come on down here. You want to see oppression? We got oppression.
Yeah, exactly. Or when they call the cops like, so I guess we're in Nazi Germany, and it's like, I'm sorry, are you comparing the fact that a cop has asked for your ID or said for you to stand back 20 feet to film when your phone has a zoom button, but asking to stand back 20 feet is like in Nazi Germany? I'm just like, how does a person, I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, could go off on that. But that question leads me to this, and you actually alluded to this question earlier. What TV show would you say is either most, because obviously you've seen lawyers depicted in tons of TV and movie and stuff. So either what TV show lawyer situation most depicts what you have found to be true to life, or what is your favorite, and I'm guessing that your answer, if you go that route, is going to be Better Call Saul. What is your favorite depiction of a law and lawyer and in TV and movies, and why is it that?
Well, I go to the ones that I reviewed because that's what I'm thinking of. There's probably more recent examples. I tried to watch, I did a review of that, like Suits. I just couldn't deal with it. It's like way over the top and unrealistic.
Yeah.
I'm like, this doesn't work for me. Better Call Saul is fantastic. And it's not just him, like he's kind of sleazy, and that exists. That's one element. But as you go through that storyline, they have sort of people in various positions, and I found it very believable.
Yeah.
And that's rare.
Hanlon, and
Hanlon, Miguel. Yeah.
And Miguel. Yep.
Yeah. And they really got it top to bottom. There's a recurring prosecutor in there that reminds me of real life. It's just, you know, they nail
Played
it.
by Patrick Fabian, the head of the other place. Yep. Sorry.
Yep. You know, I'm just going for the ones because I reviewed the ones I thought were good. My cousin Vinny was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're pulling a southern thing. They're doing accents, but it's kind of the way it would go down. It's funny that it's written as comedy, but to make it work, it was close enough to sell it. And it's really, really well done. There's a lot of good ones out there, but mostly bad. You know, most courtroom depictions are bad, and they should be because courts are boring. And these people are trying to be entertaining, so you have to cut that off and not make it. It's amazing that something like Better Call Saul can be that entertaining.
Yes.
It's a matter of editing. It's a matter of editing. Okay, so like you don't want to sit here and have us talk about the rules prior to a deposition for 50. It's not interesting. Edit to the point where it's interesting, where the interesting question was asked or something like that. And you can do it. What they usually do is cheat and just throw out reality and then just write drama and just scrap the law.
Sure.
Which is probably fine for the general public, but it's just a big eye roll for an attorney.
Well, otherwise your show is like like boring depositions. You know, it's rare that you get a. You know who Dave Grohl is? Because younger people don't.
Oh yeah.
But Dave Grohl.
That's good stuff. Foo Fighters. Oh yeah.
I swear to Grohl that this is true. I swear to Grohl that what I'm about to tell you is true. I saw him up at Sundance, and I said, "Hey, Dave, can I get a photo? Can I get a photo with you? And would you like a rape whistle?" And he goes, "A rape whistle?" And he goes, "Oh, you're that kid." And I go, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, like you come up every year to meet celebrities, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" And he goes, "Oh, I've seen a couple of your videos." And I was like, "Bull crap," right? I was like, not sure how to comprehend it. A week after Sundance, I get an email that says, "Hi, Skippy. My name's Caitlin from the Chelsea Lately Show. As you probably already know because you're a big fan, Dave Grohl is guest hosting all next week, and he wants you to be a part of one of the episodes. Can you give us a call back or email me? Here's the number." I call the number, NBC Universal Studios. "How can I direct your call?" I'm like, "Chelsea Lately Show, Caitlin." She picks up and is like, "Hi, this is Caitlin." I'm like, "Hi, Caitlin. My name's Skippy." And she's like, "Oh, Skippy, thanks for getting back to us. So Dave wants you to be on one of the episodes, and we'll fly you out here. Are you free to come?" And I'm like, "What the crap?" And so I got to sit on stage next to Chewy as Dave Grohl's Chewy for a day on the Chelsea Lately Show. And it says on my website, I get told I look like Philip Seymour Hoffman, Andy Richter, and sometimes Jack Black. And Dave was like, "Oh, I'm having Tenacious D on. I'll bring Skippy in as my sidekick." And so I swear that's true. The God in my mind, because he's
been to Tenacious D show too. That is awesome.
So that happened, and it just blows my mind. And it's like, oh, okay. So with you,
that is really cool.
Say, do you know who Dave Grohl is? And so there's that fun thing. And I took
you live a wild life. I like it.
I took your question and made it about me, even though it wasn't supposed to.
I don't care. That was more fun.
Your questions, though, are as fun, if not more fun, but you can't tell them because you're a lawyer and you've got rules that you have to follow. But you signed papers that say you can't tell your best stories, right?
Yeah.
I went on a TV show and did mine. And then just like the last question here is like, okay, Mike, thank you so much for doing this. Holy crap, a 20-minute long interview turned into like over an hour. Will you please tell people how to find you and your channel and anything else you want? The time is yours.
Oh, thank you very much. It's just Law Talk with Mike on YouTube. That's it. That's all I've got. Just type Law Talk with Mike. Oddly enough, that'll get you to me.
Well, and I'm going to have a link to your channel, obviously, in this and anything else that he tells me later. Like, hey, put a link to this and stuff if you can. That's going to be in the description of this video. Mike, this is a blast, man. Like I think you're awesome. I think that
thank you.
Fun, and I hope that people enjoy this video, because when I find something, and maybe you're like this too, but if you find a YouTube channel and you're like, oh, that kind of speaks to me, I'd love to just like reach out, and you happen to say yes and do the interview, and I'm like, sweet. Let's not just talk though about law, even though we could. And I still like, I don't want to abuse your time, but like, if you want to tell me, and you don't have to, like, your favorite comedians or like your favorite TV shows and stuff. I asked Alex Sultan those questions. I also kept it within 50 minutes. I've been talking to you for an hour. Otherwise, I would say, like, no, tell me like some of your favorite TV shows and stuff, because it's fun to be able to get to know the person behind the channel. But I love the channel, but I also am like, no, tell me what your favorite this and that are, kind of thing.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is in the YouTube era, I don't really watch a lot of TV. I watch YouTube more so because.
What are your favorite YouTube channels?
Kind of for what you're saying though, like there's creators and they're across the board. Some are like really famous and some will have like no subscribers, but I just like them, and you just sort of get involved with their personality. Another thing that's sort of interesting about TV shows, and I didn't realize this, but a lot of commenters said it, and I realized maybe these were influences. There are two shows. One of them, when you're talking about sports, or I thought you were gonna maybe say something, it was a show called Cheap Seats, and it was the Sklar brothers.
No, I swear to you on my life, boom, right here. Here is one of 6 different Sklar shirts that I have. This says Sklarbro Country on it.
Oh, that's cool.
I have I am a sklurd, which is Sklar nerd. Yeah.
Well, I think that and Mystery Science Theater 3000, because people say your show reminds me of that, and I'm thinking, well, I'm a big fan of both those shows. While I was not consciously saying, oh, I want to be like them, I'm not.
Yeah.
I think I watched so much of that stuff that my channel was just unconsciously influenced by it. Like once I started doing it, I think without trying, that's just sort of what I fell into because I liked it, you know?
Yeah. No, for people that don't know, Cheap Seats is one of the greatest shows that they can't put on. They can't make out DVDs of, because to do that they would have to get the rights to all these old videos that are like now ESPN will get the rights to everything. Before, people just took it because it wasn't quite like as litigious as it is about just like putting all the stuff. And so Randy and Jason, the twin brothers, who appeared in an episode of Better Call Saul,
by the way, which was fantastic. It really was nice to see them.
They were great. Jason and Randy, I love these dudes. But yeah, they I love that you chose like 2 people that are like on my Mount Rushmore of my personal favorite comedians. But yeah, they would talk about these funny clips of the people doing like a wide world of sports or a bowling championship, and they break it down. And that is what you do. You're kind of a lighthearted law, because you could get really serious if you wanted to on your channel, right?
Yeah.
But
like I said, I did it just now, and I maybe once in a while, but that's not what I'm doing on my channel.
Yeah, that is so much fun, dude. We'll end this only because I would feel guilty if I spent any like a minute more. But dude, Mike,
I've had a great time.
From the bottom of my heart, this was so much fun, and I appreciate you letting me take as much time as I did with you tonight.
All right, thank you. I really appreciate it.